I know everybody has been waiting for me to talk about what occurred next on this program, and I honestly don't know what to say. I do not have words. I do not know what to think about the people involved in this from start to finish. I don't know why anybody thought that. Well, I do. The people that thought this was a good idea were the people that are masturbating themselves on television every week. Whether it be the mental masturbation of the alleged amateur armchair booker that's running this fiasco, or the masturbation from the past his expiration date oversized canned ham that has taken over this program and turned it into the Carol Burnett show when Jim Neighbors would guest. I don't know what to say about this thing. I do know one thing. I will make the apology that I've already made on Twitter. I apologize for complimenting anyone ever. I apologize for saying anything good about anyone ever, because and I will not do it as freely anymore because I'm tired of getting burnt. Whenever I do say good things about modern wrestlers, invariably they make me look like an idiot. Remember when I went to MLW and I liked old Mance Warner? And then I found out he was on every independent show every weekend doing staple gun matches and wrestling the Invisible Man. And I had to quit putting him over. MJF had it. The one guy in this company, the one guy on their entire roster that not only had it, but was still young enough to use it. The one heel who looked and talked and worked like who he was supposed to be. And he's blown the image. Name another heel that looks good enough to be a star wrestler, looks like enough of an athlete with enough size, can cut a promo as a top guy and work psychologically like he's a top guy, like he's real and like he's who he's supposed to be. Name another heel on this roster besides MJF.
I can't.
Name another face a baby face that fits that description besides Cody, that looks good like an athlete, that can cut a fucking promo, that sounds like he would say these things and can fucking work like that guy should be able to work if he's real. Another baby face besides Cody.
Off the top of my head, I can't.
So they had two and now they've got one. MJF he rode back with me from one of the MLW tapings in Black Beauty to the hotel in Chicago, which was like 30, 40 minutes away. So the MLW tapings in Chicago were in Cicero, and it is a horrible looking neighborhood filled with vacant lots and industrial parks and a lot of fucking barbed wire and people sitting around on the corners of the streets that you probably wouldn't want to go up and engage in casual conversation with. Not a sharp neighborhood. We're leaving, going back to the truck in the parking lot. And of course, since this was just last year, it's long after the days when there actually were uniformed policemen to escort the talent out, because nobody needs that anymore. MJF is being MJF to the people then. To the point, I mean, he's not like he's getting in everybody's face and screaming and cussing them, but as he's walking to the truck through the parking lot, people are saying shit to him, and he's blowing them off, insulting them, and keeping moving as he goes. He's being a rude dick. To the point where I was like, you know what, fuck. We're out here in fucking Cicero in this neighborhood. Maybe you ought to lighten up and be a little nicer to these people. I almost said that. That's how fucking committed he was. And now I don't know which one he is, whether he's Steve Lawrence or Edie Gourmet, but it's overtaken him too. They've not only decided to fucking take the rest of their program and flush it down the porcelain throne, but they are now infecting the few people they had that could do this right. The people, we haven't actually said what we're talking about, have we?
You have not.
Jericho and MJF were scheduled to have a steak dinner and talk things over. And they did. They sat down at this alleged steakhouse and they did scripted, unfunny comedy about how they were ordering their steak from their waitress, Velma or Thelma. It was like it was like Harvey Korman and Lyle Wagner doing a skit on the Carol Burnett show. And you can kind of even hear the audience tittering. And then suddenly they broke into song. Music started playing. Music started playing. They started singing. Jericho started trying to sing. MJF wasn't very good, but he was better than Jericho. The curtains behind their restaurant table opened up to reveal a dance floor, a ballroom. They had, 5 or 6 dancing girls. And they proceeded to do a duet mixed with ballroom dancing. And that's why I said Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet, I'm pretty sure this is their fucking song. I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, I saw them do this song on television. They were singing and dancing and doing customized verbiage for AEW. It wasn't the most offensive thing ever on television, in wrestling TV. It wasn't as repugnantly offensive as the tooth and nail match, which beat football fuckery for the worst thing ever on a wrestling show, but that was for one reason, because the tooth and nail match was not only insulting to anybody who's ever been in the wrestling business, but it was poorly performed and shot worse. It looked like it was fucking recorded on somebody's phone and the participants were somaed. So, other than that, that's the reason why the tooth and nail thing was still more obnoxious and repugnant. This was actually shot better, but it was similar, very similar. And to me, watching this, it looked like 2 local news anchors that were doing a fucking song and dance routine on a local charity telethon, backed up by the cheerleading squad from Tits McGee Middle School. What the fuck? They finished this thing. Even the dancing girls were rotten. Did you notice they couldn't even figure out what they were doing? Should have had Sonny back there. See, he's a talent for something in wrestling. They even did a false finish on the song and Jericho was blown up. And then I really mean, and they go back into it again. Is this now supposed to be a sports-based musical variety program? Is that what it is? That's why I'm saying one segment, Eddie Kingston is cussing like a whore with crotch rot, swearing to kill people. And after the break, the 2 top heels in the company break into a song and dance, and the fucking stage and the dancing villagers appear like an episode of the 1967 Jackie Gleason show when the honeymooners went to Europe. And they won't even, these fucking people, they're like Trumpers. They're so fucking far up the ass, and they're so delusional, and they just can't admit that they were wrong, and they've been hornswoggled and taken for suckers and taken for a ride all along. There's people trying to say, well, it was entertaining. No, not in any way, shape, or form. It was insulting to wrestling. It diminished your capacity to do future business by not only making Jericho look even more stupid than he's already made himself look over the past several months, but now you've got MJF with shit all over his face too. If you found entertainment in this, you might be one of those people that likes to have their fucking balls nailed to a step stool. And I don't know what to think about anybody anymore, but I will be less free and easy as I have been with my endorsements and accolades or allocades from this point forward. Just because I'm sure Jericho thought of this. Just because he thought, it would be funny. Just take your dick out, Chris, and just jack off on Tony Khan's face while he's there. Because you've just raped him and ripped him off of all this other money he spent on this fucking company that started out looking like you were going to carry it and now is looking like you're going to sink it.
He likes this just as much as these idiots like doing it.
That's what I'm saying. While he's at this, take his dick out of his pants, jack off on Tony Khan's face, and splooge in his eye. You're showing him, even if he's too stupid and immature and inexperienced and lost in the weeds as a goddamn wrestling observer, Mark, instead of a fan of wrestling, that he can't see, that he can't book, and he's wasting his father's money, and that this is all a goddamn variety of horse shit that's going to lead to nothing but wrestling never getting on national cable again for the next 20 years. Just because he can't realize that doesn't mean that Chris Jericho, who knows better, has to fucking splooge in his face, waste his money, and fucking make fun of his own fucking product at the same time while he's doing it. I feel sorry for Tony Khan when shit like this comes up on his television program.
I don't feel sorry for him at all. He's running his wrestling company the same way he runs his dad's football team and soccer team. It's just that wrestling fans, the super niche audience, are more forgiving because they like some of this stupid stuff. This is all Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho has some of the stupidest instincts in terms of entertainment of anyone in the history of the wrestling business. And his 2020 has been an embarrassment. And
remember when I said last year that this is the Jericho show and he's the star here and he will carry this and get it over if it's going to be got over? I apologize.
You know, you brought up Stephen Eady and Carol Burnett. Funny little fact. Stephen Eady and Carol Burnett lived on my family's block in Lido Beach.
What?
Yeah. I still have like a whole bunch of Stephen Eady autograph photos I used to give out.
But you were the one that would take them?
What a neighborhood I had. Stephen Eady and Carol Burnett, a few blocks over, the Rubens, Rick Rubens family. A few blocks over, Gambino. It was a great neighborhood to live in.
If Edie ever got with Gambino, she could have been Edie Gambino instead of Edie Gourmet. All right.
Well, you know, look.
That's a fun fact about Carol Burnett.
I have been a big fan of MJF. Unfortunately, I've been seeing that things are going in this direction for a few months now. Ever since that really awful campaign shit. Yeah. When they should have made him a serious heel going after Moxley. Look, I saw this ever since they threw him into the pool, which told me everything I needed to know about the way they're going to treat a guy who has the possibility to be an actual heel in a company with lots of smart fans who can get heat. That told me everything I need to know about the way they see this kid who has a world of potential.
The only thing that MJF needs to be the modern 21st century Roddy Piper is experience and learning how to take care of himself. And unfortunately, he's getting a crash course in how he shouldn't take care of himself. This is what not to do. So maybe if there is a wrestling business in 5 years and MJF does stick with it, he's learning now what not to do. Hopefully he'll get a second chance to be viewed and say, well, he's going to get a second chance to be seen by people because I assume that all the AEW fans hate the WWE and they don't watch most of it. So if he's only being ruined in front of AEW fans who are not going to watch any real wrestling programs, then when he moves on to actually make money and become a star on a highly rated program, if it still exists by then, the WWE fans won't know that he's been goddamn one half of the fucking Rat Pack or whatever.
Chris Jericho's a major problem for professional wrestling right now in terms of wanting things to be serious and not just really stupid. And I know you've always been a defender of his, and I know
not
you can't,
anymore.
And I know you can't deny it anymore. You can't deny that it's a fact. He's proven it over and over again. You know, there's always been talented people in wrestling. By the way, I'm not including Chris Jericho on that list. But there's always been really talented people in professional wrestling. Guys who could sing or play guitar, guys who were funny in the back. Wrestling was never a talent show where whatever you could do, let's make sure we do a song and dance number. MJF's obviously a very talented guy. This was embarrassing. I was embarrassed watching it. And I know a lot of the younger fans will say, oh, but wrestling's supposed to be fun and silly. And hey, if that's what you like in wrestling.
Yeah, we covered that at the top of the program. Then what? Don't get mad when we laugh at you and tell you how stupid and silly you act.
This does nothing to get people who don't like this into the door. And You know, it bothers me to critique someone like MJF, who I think is a world of talent. He's a fellow Jew from Long Island, but he is from Suffolk County, so maybe I feel all right about criticizing
I'm reaching across the aisle. I'm not even Jewish, but I liked him. I don't even know why I'm supposed to be mad at Jewish people. The only reason I'm mad at him now is because, goddamn it. And I know it's the first big contract he's had, and I know they're paying him a lot of money. Goddamn, sit down and say, no, for the sake of my career going forward, don't make me stupid like the rest of these people. I may be able to fucking help you one day.
You know what would help AEW right now? Fozzy going on tour. That would help AEW. Hey, Jim, real quick, let me read you a few comments that I got a kick out of. Because I'm trying to not take this too seriously, because why should I? They don't take it seriously. And I'm trying to laugh at the stupidity of this. So a few comments from the Mothership group that I got a kick out of. Lou Kippelman, superstar producer.
Kippelman!
On the network. It reminded me less of Frank and Sammy and more of the New Yorker staff Zoom call with Jeffrey Toobin. It was the first time I said to myself, you know what this segment needs? Brandy. Jericho revived that game show gimmick he had on ABC. He put MJF's promising career on a conveyor belt, taking a slow ride off the side of a tall building. How does self-consciously ironic shitty singing and dancing come across? Shitty. And really unfunny. And there's a few other, can't wait for the eventual movie-length Rat Pack tribute, Cody and the Seven Marks, featuring songs by Sammy Khan.
Oh, good old Sammy Khan.
Scott Cornish said, I could see the headlines in a Simpson meme right now. Old man yells at production number, doesn't understand the wrestling has involved. And finally, one more from Scott Cornish. The main problem with AEW wrestling, it's too choreographed. Again, trying to find some light in the awfulness and the horribleness that was this segment on AEW.
Well, I guess we've got as much to the bottom of that as we can get. It believe me, it was at the bottom. You gotta laugh. You can't, I mean, the horses left the barn and the wrestling business is gone. And as I've said, I'm going to make it a point just because I can. And I despise all these people. I'm going to point out every time they suck and everything they do bad and everything they do, it's embarrassing. And every time they show that they're poorly trained and untalented and lacking in fucking determination, because they don't give a shit. So why should I? But so we will laugh at them and tell them that they're silly because that's what they're going for.
You always do the I told you so thing. When it comes to Chris Jericho, I told you so.
You told me so.
I told you so. He can't help himself. He truly believes he has good ideas. He can't help himself.
Help me.
He's not just drunk off the bubbly. He's drunk off his own ego, which needs to be put into check quickly.